Capitol Hill Democratic Whip, Congressman Steny Hoyer. Steny, always great to talk to you. Thanks for being with us.
Good to be with you.
I was asking Mark Sanford if he would be willing to support a clean bill. He said no. I said, but what about a bill that will hold us over until the court determines the constitutionality of this issue? Would Democrats support, let's say, a 2-week extension or a 4-week extension of funding for DHS?
No, Joe, the fact of the matter is the CR, which gives very limited funding ability to the department, Jay Johnson, the secretary, has made it very clear this is undermining their ability to act now. The irony is, Joe, we don't have any disagreement on the bill itself.
Right.
Essentially, it was reported out by a Republican Appropriations Committee and agreed on a bipartisan basis, the United States Senate and House of Representatives.
Right.
So we're arguing over a bill on which there is not disagreement.
Except obviously, Denny, there's a disagreement on the aspect regarding the president's executive order on immigration, and the federal court has said it is could be unconstitutional and stop the enforcement of that bill. So would it make sense that you don't fund the portion of the bill that the federal court say may be unconstitutional and just wait for the D.C. Circuit and for the Supreme Court to make the decision? I mean, you could pass a 4-week extension, right?
I'm not sure we could.
Why not?
If the Republicans have 218 votes, look.
Well, no. I'm asking, is it not whether you have the votes or not? I'm asking, is it possible to pass, say, a 2 or a 4-week extension? The parliamentary rules, is that possible?
Oh, I think it's possible, certainly. I mean, under the rules, it would be possible.
So why wouldn't you pass that until you knew whether it was constitutional or not?
Joe, I think we just get right back into this cul-de-sac that was created in December. You get a few weeks going, you hit the deadline, everybody panics. Frankly, you talked about Congressman Sanford. His senator, Lindsey Graham, just reelected, says this is stupid.
Right.
We ought to fund Homeland Security for our national security.
He's got 6 more years before he has to face the voters in South Carolina again. But
Steny, he's been pretty candid even before the election, as you well know.
So let me ask you then, Steny, though, do you really want to fund a portion of a bill that the federal court system says could be unconstitutional? Why wouldn't it be the prudent thing to do to wait until you know whether the courts determine that it's constitutional? I wouldn't want to fund something that's unconstitutional. I'm sure
the irony is the court's decision had nothing to do with that which they're going to defund. In fact, as you know, the visa department runs on fees. That's not going to be defunded. So the irony is that which they're defunding is not the agency that, or the operations of the Department of Homeland Security. They're going to deal directly with the problem they have. I don't think anybody contemplated shutting down the Department of Homeland Security at a time of high risk to our country and to our people.
Well, what's the greatest risk?
Frankly, I think it's a political tantrum. Frankly, what's the greatest risk?
Well, hold on a second. I think it's unfair to say it's a political tantrum. I can certainly understand Republicans who think that the president overstepped his constitutional bounds by an executive order. The president himself said that he couldn't do it a year ago because it would make him an emperor, that he wasn't an emperor. He couldn't act this way. Then he ended up a year later acting this way. A court agrees, obviously, with Barack Obama of 2011 and 2012. I wouldn't call that a tantrum. Some people would say the president's having a tantrum because he couldn't get his way. So he's decided to do what he himself described would be a move of an emperor. Who's on the tantrum here?
Well, what the president has done is, as you well know, Ronald Reagan did partially, Bill Clinton did partially, Herbert Walker Bush did partially, and so did George Bush. They all made changes and nuances to bills that have been passed by the Congress. Reagan, in particular, said didn't go far enough. So this is not.
Let me ask
the
you
court
final
decision
question,
is a very narrow decision, Joe.
Right.
Very narrow decision.
So,
and it's going through the court system
because we've got to go to break, and they're yelling in my ear. We got to go to break. I'm not, as you know, I wouldn't be cutting you off like this unless I was having people screaming at me. But I've asked you a lot of tough questions. I want to give you the last word, and no interruptions, no nothing. Tell me if you could in a minute or less, so they don't drag me out of here kicking and screaming, and I don't have to pay for the commercials that we're going to miss. Tell me what you think the greatest danger to America is not passing a clean Department of Homeland Security bill, because you've got a lot of Republicans that agree with you.
I think there are 30,000 people, administrative personnel, they're going to be laid off. There are a number of other, almost 200,000 people who are going to be working but not paid. You're demoralizing an agency that we need to have on high alert, high morale, confronting the terrorist threats that we know are out there.
All right, Stinny, thank you so much. We'll have more time to talk in the future, and I'm going to have you interrupting me. How's that?
Okay.
Thanks, Joe. I'm coming to the Hill next week. I hope to see you there.
Great. Look forward to it.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. That's Mike.